Hello, welcome back. I have to say, not a very high volume of calls tonight, but then in the past, some of our best results have come on nights that at first we thought were rather disappointing. What calls we've had, it's been quite difficult to evaluate in the time we've had so far, but let's see how well we can do. Sue.
Well, we'll start with Superintendent Hatcher in our photo call cases. We had 8 today. First of all, the Building Society robber in Southampton. We had quite a few calls on him during our main programme.
Yes, and we had a couple of good leads, including a sighting in Southampton. A couple of people rang who claimed to know him, and a viewer rang twice who has some very important information, and we'd very much like that viewer to call again. Please do. Everything you tell us will be in the strictest confidence.
Then there was the man who liked his beer, Jack Chandler, alias several different names. What do you think about him?
Yes, he was into Beck's beer, I think. Well, we've got various sightings of him along the south coast of England, including a sighting in a pub in the past few days, as you'd expect with our beer-gutted man, and one they're following up very closely now because that looks very hot, so there might be news soon.
Our third case was a man with a tattoo on his hand who'd been seen robbing the TSB bank.
Yes, that was in Edgware. Well, we've got 2 suggested names for him. An ex-convict has called who said he served time with him. And also we've got an old drinking partner, another drinker, who says he knew him in London. So we're following that one up too.
Any news on Donald McKnight, who'd been conning ladies out of their money in the north of England?
Yes, there is. There's been a very good response on him. 4 calls have given definite leads that seem to be pointing us in the right direction, is all I'm going to say there.
Right. What about George Bell? He was the one with the pigeon tattoo on his right arm.
Yes, 8 calls. The most positive is that he's probably working for a firm in Guildford, but we've also got 2 possible addresses for him.
Right. Then there was a robber with the Irish accent in London who was seen robbing a nationwide Anglia Building Society in Haringey.
Well, a good response still, but we've got 5 possible names. Unfortunately, they're all different. Who knows, one might go down to him, and a possible sighting recently.
And Anthony Reardon was wanted in connection with a murder, also in London.
Yeah, very poor response there, only 1 call, but actually that tells us that suggests that he was sighted selling jewellery on the pavement in Bexhill a couple of days ago. Well, that fits in with the kind of lifestyle that we think Anton Reardon will be following.
And finally, Alan Doherty, who was wanted in connection with passing stolen cheques.
Yes, a lot there, ranging from a man who says he worked in South Africa with him 2.5 years ago. Another one said he was in Edinburgh 2 days ago. And somebody who rang twice, a lady who was interrupted on the second call in a very worrying manner. We must get in touch with her again. I'm sure she'll want to contact us back. We'll do everything we can to help you and hopefully to follow up the information that you give us.
And keep confidence with her. Right,
We
David,
will.
for the moment, thank you very much. Nick.
Well, now to the lone gunman who's been terrorising staff at railway stations south of London. He struck 4 times. On one occasion, though, a booking office clerk fought back.
Get in there! Shut up! Shut up! What are you doing? I said get down! No! Get down! No! All right, stupid little man, come on! No! Yeah? Down! Down!
John O'Donnell, you've been snowed under with paperwork, deluged with it.
We've had a marvellous response for the railway robber, both here at the Crimewatch studio and at our force headquarters incident room. And, you know, I'd like to thank everybody that's rung in so far. We've had a couple of PCs who've rung in who feel that they've dealt with this man in the last year or so that fits the description. We've had a man who served a prison sentence with a man, again, who he thinks may be our railway robber. So, very hopeful, but again, we're still looking for more. There are 2 points, really. We're still looking, you know, this red Astra was used throughout the month of February. There must be lots of sightings of it, and we'd like to hear more about the red Astra. The red GTI.
Well, the red Astra was the one used at Red Hill, of course.
That's right.
We think we have a partial registration number, CE something BLO.
That's right.
The GTI was used earlier on.
That's right.
That was stolen from Pimlico and was missing for a crucial month.
Yes, the whole of February, in fact, and into the beginning of March. So lots of people must have seen that, you know, and we'd desperately like to hear from whoever did.
And I know you've had a lot of people who are pretty sure they recognise that video fit.
That's right, and, you know, it's quite distinctive, obviously. He's got the plaster on his nose, he wears his thick glasses. You couldn't miss him, it wouldn't be possible to miss him. And again, we're very anxious to trace him. He's getting more and more dangerous. Next time he commits a robbery, he may also fire the gun.
All right, Mr. Donald, thank you very much. Sue.
Well, next, the raid on the security van in Greater Manchester. The van was attacked outside the Tesco superstore in Walkden as it collected the store's Saturday takings.
Out of the van now! Come on! Come on!
The gang made their getaway in the red Sierra 4x4, which was found abandoned nearby the following day. Mr. Knupfer, what sort of calls have you had?
We've had a number of calls from people who witnessed the robbery, and arrangements are being made for them to be seen in the near future. We've also had a number of calls about the fishing rod case here. Some have suggested it isn't a fishing rod case, but a gun case. I can assure everyone it is indeed a fishing rod case.
Right, there's no doubt about that at all. And what distinguishes that is the Sex Pistols logo or sort of badge stuck onto it
right,
there,
yes.
which dates it rather, and somebody may have had that stolen.
Perhaps.
Has anybody identified the two men who were seen hanging around outside Tesco's a few days before the robbery, watching a security van collecting takings?
No, I'm afraid not. We're still anxious to trace these two men. The first one is 30 years of age. He's 6 feet 2 inches tall, dark hair with a thick moustache. The second one is between 25 and 30 years of age, 5 feet 10 tall, mousy hair and a thin, mousy moustache. These two men, if you remember, were dressed as fishermen, or posing as fishermen, and we would like very much to trace them.
I suppose there is always the possibility that both men will have shaved off their moustaches as well.
It's quite possible, yes.
OK, so if you have seen either of those two men, please do call us. Nick?
We appeal for help in finding whoever murdered 33-year-old Michael Fahey, a homeless alcoholic in the Montpellier area of Bristol. 3 men were seen running away from the direction of the patch of waste ground where Michael's body was found. Ray Sargent, are you any further forward? I mean, this is the most difficult sort of crime to solve because it looks completely motiveless. It looks as though this guy was killed, terrible to say, but killed for kicks.
Yes, I think he was killed for kicks. We've had 2 particular calls that we're actively following up with my CID officers in Bristol, and we're hopeful that they're going to take us a lot further forward. Now, unfortunately, some of the callers are preferring to remain anonymous, yet the information they're giving really corroborates something that we've learned during the inquiry. If they'd simply give their names and addresses, it really could help us find the killer of Michael Fahey.
You didn't get anywhere with those 3 guys who were seen running away, or the woman who'd appealed for help?
Well, we had a woman rang up in a Scottish accent who certainly sounded genuine, claimed that she was the person who'd hailed the taxi driver, and then made some comment to the fact that she shouldn't have rang off, and then hung up. And really, we do appeal for her to come forward because, again, she could be the vital witness.
Do you think, in your heart, you're actually any further forward then?
Yes, I do. I mean, I think that these 2 particular calls will take us further forward, and I'm hopeful that we'll get a good result out of it.
Good. All right, thanks very much.
Right, and David Hatch is here again with the incident cases results. First of all, was there anything on the attack on the 14-year-old girl near Ashford in Kent?
Yes, very serious case, Sue, and we had a good response, both at the incident room in Ashford and here at the studio. First of all, we had that lighter that we featured. Well, that produced a lot of calls from people telling us that it is actually supplied in the Kent area by our wholesalers, Palmer and Harvey. We already knew that. What we were really asking, how is that lighter linked with the other clothing that we showed and the spanner? So the 3 items that go together is going to give us the link, we hope, to the offender. And remember, that clothing had some paint spots on it, light-coloured paint spots. However, we've also had some names suggested, although they're rather vague, for who the attacker might be, and of course we'll be following them up. It's important we catch that man.
It is, right. What about the burglary at Salgrave Manor in Northamptonshire? Have you any news on the property or the thieves?
Well, yes, we were seeking those 80 antiques that were stolen, including some clocks. Well, we've had a couple of calls that look very promising that might point us to where they are.
Right. Then there was the case of the rape in Bristol of a student. Anything on that?
Yes, we showed the artist's impression that was compiled by the victim. We've had a number of names suggesting who he might be. Very, very hopeful there. But also we showed a video fit, which was allegedly a prowler near the old Bristol maternity hospital. We've had nothing on who that might be, and we'd ask if that man is just an innocent passerby or was waiting for somebody, please contact us. It's important that we eliminate you from the inquiry so that we can get down to the nitty-gritty of the rapist himself.
But we have had a couple of calls from people asking to see that artist's impression again, so that we've seen that now. And finally, the robbery at the Abbey National Building Society in Hove in Sussex.
Yes, we appealed to get information on that blue Vauxhall Belmont car, D170 WUF. Well, we've had 3 sightings of it. One was in Worthing, another one in Horsham, and a near collision, possibly on the M1 near Leeds. And we've also had the name of a company who use the pin hammer that was found in the vehicle, and somebody's given us the name of an employee who fits the description of one of those offenders.
Could be some
so
good
that
leads
could be
there.
good.
Right, thank you, David. And that is all for this month. We're back here again tomorrow morning with more reports on progress on Open Air. That'll be at 20 to 12. The lines here will be closing soon, but you'll see a list of the investigating officers' numbers in a moment on your screen, or you can always call your local police, and we'll see you on Crimewatch UK next month.
Once again, 10 of nightmares, do sleep well. Good night.